Welcome to the Bard's Tale Diaries, a series where we relive the Bard's Tale on the Commodore 64 the way it was meant to be played. Mapping dungeons, jotting down clues, and making plenty of questionable decisions. As I work my way toward defeating Mangar, I'll dip into the game's rich history and take time to appreciate the graphics, systems, and design choices that help make it such an iconic classic. In our last episode, we took our new party of level 1 characters through the tough streets of Skara Brae as we searched for the Scarlet Bard Tavern. Skara Brae is no picnic. The enemies are tough, progress is slow, and not everyone made it. We'll miss you, Tanis. But where there's loss, there's opportunity, and Ulrich the monk filled in admirably. By the end of the episode, things were starting to turn. Most of the party had reached level 3 and Ulrich was close behind. They were fast becoming capable adventurers. And best of all, after a few hours grinding through the city, we finally found the Scarlet Bard, and it turns out it was just where I left it some 40 odd years ago. Alright, we're loaded up and ready to go. Let's hit the wine cellar. Adventuring through Skara Brae is challenging and fun, but let's face it, the Bard's Tale is all about the dungeons, and the wine cellar is the very first one. Go there too early and it will eat you alive. But a group of level 3 characters with some decent gear? That seems like the right time to head down. And emerge in complete darkness. But no problem. Gandalf, our conjurer, can light things up and then provide some direction with his magic compass spell. Then Raistlin, our magician, can cast Scrysight to show us where we are in the dungeon, and we can begin mapping. And mapping is essential. Each dungeon in the Bard's Tale is laid out on a 22 by 22 grid, and Scrysight immediately gives us our bearings. We're exactly in the bottom corner of the map. That's everything I need to get started. Let's go. As soon as we get moving, we get a little bit of flavor text. Nice, good to know I'm in the right place. But what really tells me I'm in the right place is the first combat. This is one of the key differences between the dungeons and Skara Brae. When you're in the city, only one group of enemies will attack you at once. But in the dungeons, you can get attacked by gangs with up to 4 different groups of enemies. And how they line up is critical. My first 3 fighters can only reach the first 2 enemy groups, and the same goes for them. Only their first 2 groups can reach my front line. This opens up layers of strategy, especially since some characters, like magic users, can target any group with their spells. But for now, I've just got 2 groups to worry about, and honestly, I'm not worried. 5 Mad Dogs isn't much of a challenge, and magicians are super squishy. Yeah, as expected, we got through that pretty quickly. Cool, a door. What could be in here? 7 barbarians. I don't think so. The party's getting better, but barbarians suck. Spell point management is critical in the dungeons. Unlike in Skara Brae, magic doesn't regenerate down here, which effectively puts a time limit on each expedition. Gandalf is down to about a quarter of his spell points, and since he's the only one who can heal us, that means it's time to leave. But not before opening this cool chest. I totally forgot about the chests. I don't have a thief in the party to detect and disarm traps, but Gandalf can use Trap Zap. It only costs 2 spell points, and it's always a good idea. 77 gold each and some armor, nice haul. That's the other thing about dungeons, you find a lot more treasure down here than you do in the city. And speaking of Skara Brae, Sturm's hit points are getting low and Gandalf is now down to 5 spell points. Time to get out of here. This is the dungeon grind. Explore for a bit, deplete your hit points and spell points, then head back to the surface to heal at the temples, drop by the review board to level up, recharge your spell points at Roscoe's, and sell your loot at Garth's. Hi Garth. Oh, and while you're there, maybe spend some of that extra money on a super useful samurai statue. Seriously, these statues are great. Using them adds a temporary character to the party who helps out in combat. And it was a good time to visit the review board. Ulrich was ready to level up, and now he's at level 3 with the rest of the party. He's not a killing machine quite yet, but I'll definitely take those extra hit points. After healing and recharging, we're back in the dungeon to continue exploring. And it's time to use this samurai statue. These guys are super tough, and he'll be a great addition to the party. Or he would be if he had more than 4 hit points. Seriously, 4 hit points? I wouldn't bet on this guy in a fight with my cat. And of course, he didn't even last a single fight. We ran into a group of dwarves and thieves. The samurai did his job by absolutely skewering one of the thieves. But on the very next turn, a dwarf hit him. Oh, samurai, we hardly knew you. That's the bard's tale for you. While exploring, I got jumped by an absolutely ridiculous group, and this next fight proved fatal. 6 orcs, 4 barbarians, 4 kobolds, and 2 thieves. Seriously, how do all of them even fit down here? Discretion is the better part of valor, so of course I tried to run. Unfortunately, they had none of it. And remember when I said barbarians suck? It turns out they don't. They do a ton of damage, and it seems like they always hit. And this time, Flint was on the receiving end, and he got killed. I managed to flee at the end of the round and made it back to the stairs. Safely back in Skara Brae, I headed to the temple. Unfortunately, the price to resurrect him is 2,700 gold, which I just don't have. I hate the idea of abandoning a level 3 character, but at this point I don't really have a choice. So it's back to the Adventurers Guild to replace him. Oh, poor Flint. Dying in the Bard's Tale is just so dignified. Not only have we been dragging Flint's body around town, now it's time to strip all of his equipment off him and leave him on ice at the Adventurers Guild, which apparently doubles as a morgue. But that's actually good news, because it means we can always resurrect him later when we have the money. Not that we'll have to, because look at this absolute unit of a dwarf. 18 strength, 17 constitution, and 19 hit points. Everybody, this is Ozzy. Ozzy, everybody. Flint who? Since Ozzy is only level 1, he needs a little protection, so I'm putting him 3rd in the party behind Ulrich and Sturm. And I've got enough money to buy a couple of mithril shields, which Sturm and Ozzy can use to drop their armor class. Back to the wine cellar. And look who we met. A wandering hobgoblin asked to join our party. Sure, tag along, we can always use the... Oh, 4 hit points. Terrific. Probably not a good idea to get too attached. And yeah, just like the samurai, he didn't last a single fight. We ran into some orcs and mad dogs, and one of the dogs took him out. They also did a ton of damage to my fighters, so it was already time to head back to the surface. But as quick as that dungeon trip was, I'm starting to make real progress. While back in Skara Brae, I got into a few fights, and the extra experience allowed me to level up Sturm, Iolo, Raistlin, and Gandalf. So I now have 4 characters at level 4, Ulrich is at level 3, and Ozzy is at level 1. But even better, the grinding earned me enough gold to buy Iolo a firehorn. This is a game changer. Not only is the firehorn a really cool sounding instrument, it's also a magical weapon that can hit an entire group of enemies. Iolo is suddenly useful in combat. Very useful. I was also able to buy a couple of mithril helms, which get Sturm and Ozzy's armor class even lower. Did I say the firehorn was a game changer? Check this out. While heading to the dungeon, I ran into 7 mad dogs. More like hot dogs. The firehorn is amazing. The grind continues. Into the dungeon, explore, fight. Back to town, heal, upgrade. But it's getting easier. I'm getting through large groups of enemies now, and my dungeon expeditions are lasting longer. I'm also earning a lot of money and experience. Sturm, Iolo, Raistlin, and Gandalf are now level 5, which is a big deal. For one thing, Sturm now has 2 attacks, and Gandalf can use level 3 conjurer spells, including Lesser Revelation, which reveals secret doors. But even better, I was able to change Raistlin to a sorcerer. Sorcerers are among the most powerful classes in the game, with access to some incredibly strong spells. And of course, my visits to Garth have continued when I'm in Skara Brae. Hi Garth! More mithril armor, and this time a shield ring for Ulrich. This is no longer feeling like a ragtag group. This is starting to feel like a powerful party of adventurers. And our exploration of the Wine Cellar is proceeding nicely. We're starting to own this dungeon. I found a set of stairs leading down to the next level, but I'm going to wait till I fully map the cellars before heading down. I also found 2 rooms, one with fine wines and one with rare wines, along with a warning to keep out. That may as well be a welcome mat. Throughout my wanderings, my luck with companions, or more accurately, their luck, hasn't really improved. Besides the samurai and the hobgoblin from earlier, I've been joined by a couple magicians, a gnome, and an orc. None of them lasted more than a single fight. The gnome didn't even get an attack in before he bit it. But things turned around when a barbarian asked to join. This guy was a beast. In our first fight, he absolutely destroyed a hobgoblin and a dwarf, and his body count eventually reached 4 before he was finally taken down. What a run! Okay, so they don't all suck. The rare and fine wine rooms were an adventure. I started in fine wines and triggered a tripwire. I had completely forgotten about traps, so from here on out I'll need to cast a spell. Raistlin can do that now to detect them. Fortunately, it didn't seem to do any damage. But the real fun was in the rare wine room. There are a lot of doors in this one, and a lot of enemies hiding behind them. Most weren't too bad, but one fight involved 4 magicians and some hobgoblins. I focused on the hobgoblins first, since they're more likely to do damage. Or so I thought. The magicians casted Wither on us, turning both Ulrich and Ozzy old. Not good. I finished the fight, left the dungeon, which is now fully explored, and headed to the temple. 1,500 gold to cure it, but I have insurance. Fortunately, I had earned enough from the last round of adventuring, but holy hell that's expensive. These temples aren't really into the charity thing, are they? But all is well. After getting the party healed, Ozzy and Gandalf both leveled up. And at Garth's, hi Garth, I was able to buy Sturm a fancy suit of mithril plate. In the next episode, we're heading to the sewers. I'm expecting different monsters, better loot, and a far more dangerous experience. I can't wait. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the 3rd episode of the Bard's Tale Diaries. If you did, please consider leaving a like or subscribing. And if you have any memories or helpful tips for the Bard's Tale, I'm all ears. Please drop them in the comments. Hope to see you again.